Chapter 27. Yadra rode while Max sat on the bottom boards with Churro buried in the sling. The sky wavered between blue patches and menacing clouds. By midday, it rained. Yadra handed Max a hooded slicker, like a rain jacket. "There's always a little bit of melancholy when handing someone over," she said. Max's body felt too heavy to speak. Yadra comforted him. "You're tired from rowing and from feeling. Rest, Maximiliano. Close your eyes." It was easy to obey. Max crossed his arms over the thwart and lay his head down upon them. His eyelids dropped. A smothering exhaustion wrapped around him. The rhythmic click of the oarlocks and the slurp of the water sent him into a dense web at the edge of sleep. Yadra's voice followed him. "Drag your hand in the river. Scoop up the water, but keep your fingers pressed tight like a cup. Tomorrow is there." This next part's in italics, so it's sort of dreamlike, but I'm not sure he's all the way asleep. From the caverns of his mind, Max saw himself slowly sit up, ladle the water, and stare into the tiny lake in his palm. It didn't feel warm and syrupy like Buelo had said. The water formed a large solid bubble, wet and slippery, like the yolk of a fresh egg. It glowed, brightening the world around him, until Max was surrounded by spaciousness. There was no horizon, no above or below. He floated within an illuminated cloud. He could no longer see Yadra, but he could hear her humming somewhere on the periphery of his thoughts. "What worries you, Maximiliano?" His mind drifted and his voice slurred. "Boys throwing rocks, people's hatred when they find out my mother was a hidden one, being spit upon, treated less than human." "You will witness the best and the worst in people. Embrace the best and dismiss the worst. You are not doomed to live beneath other people's misguided notions. Rise above them, pity them, and create your own noble worth." "But how?" "Your father's and grandfather's love is woven tightly around you, and it will not unravel easily. Lean on their love. Remember, you don't have to struggle alone. There will always be someone who sees you and lifts you from darkness." "Will I ever meet my mother?" "It's not impossible." The bubble in Max's hand glimmered and trembled. In his mind's eye, the rowboat was somewhere on the meandering river made by the serpent with the indecisive spirit. The current took him one way and then the other. He tried to reconcile the mystery of his mother, but no matter which way he turned, there were no answers or satisfaction. Unanswered questions don't always mean a closed door. The challenge is to find an opening. The uncertainty didn't feel as heavy as it once had. It felt oddly weightless and bright. The unknown was a sliver of light, streaming through a crack and beyond, to all the possibilities he could not see. He might meet his mother someday. He could make the village team. Hopefully, he and Shui would always be best friends. And sooner or later, Papa might shed the seriousness and worry he carried. A strange peacefulness enveloped Max. The bubble in his hand grew flatter, and the luster that surrounded him slowly faded. The orb burst, and drop by drop, the water leaked through his fingers and was gone. "Maximiliano," whispered Yadra. Max pushed through his drowsiness and opened his eyes. It was already late in the day. Yadra stood on the bank holding Churro. "Maximiliano," she said again. "We are back now." In a daze, he slowly climbed from the boat to the bank. How long had he slept? Lola sprang to him and licked his face. The day washed a feeling of urgency over him. I have to get home. Jadra looked at the sky and nodded. The rain has stopped and there are a few hours of light left. If you leave soon, you'll make it to one of the resting places. Come, you'll have to exit the way you came. Find your backpack and I'll gather some provisions for you and the animals. She waved him into the cavern. As Max watched Jadra stuff his backpack with a blanket and food, his heart filled with gratitude, not only for what she'd done to help Rosalina and Isadora, but for her kindness to Max, too. He wasn't sure how, but talking to her had lightened his spirit. Abuelo had been right about her great wisdom and mesmerizing aura. As he stood beneath the bridge, ready to set out for home, he hugged her. Thank you, Jadra, for everything. I hope we will meet again. We will, she said, patting him on the back. Sooner or later, there will be someone who needs a guardian. We will have many more tomorrows. Of that, I'm certain. She held him at arm's length and winked. Did I mention that I love visitors? Max laughed. Yes, you did. And dogs and cats, too.